Right now I'm going to talk about how to create controls, both the normal controls and the custom controls. Basically, we use NURBS objects, curves, to create our controls for the purpose that they do not render. So when we create the controls and we render them, we do not see the controls. So that's a good thing. So for that purpose, we will use curves or our NURBS shelf here, our curves and surfaces, to create our controls. Right, most times people like to use basic controls, just like the circle here. So we just have a circle and someone just use that to make the controls on our rig. It's not a bad idea, but many times you want to create some custom controls that are unique to you. For this, I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, so we just start off with this circle, this basic circle here. So let me zoom in a bit to see what we're doing here. Okay, then I'm going to duplicate this circle and I want to rotate it along an axis. So switch to the rotate tool. I'm going to rotate along the Z axis. I'm going to hold the J on my keyboard while I am rotating this so that it snaps rotation to 15 degrees. So I'll just do 1, 2, and this is 30 degrees, this is 45 degrees, so I'll just make it 45 degree on. Then there's another command in Maya when we hold to, rather than just Control D, again I can just do Shift D, and Shift D duplicates, maintaining the offset I just created here. So I've made it 45 degree angle. So I do Shift D, it makes another circle with 45 degree from the previous circle, and I do Shift D again, it makes another 45 degree angle. So we have that. Okay. Alright, so this is a pretty good control, looks like an atom sign. Alright, then maybe I want to create one coming this way, so I select the circle again, okay, and this time I want to go around the x-axis, so I just go OJ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 90 degrees. It's not 90. Yeah, that's 90. Okay. So have this unique looking boy here. So this is a kind of cool control. Alright. And so in case you don't want to make this kind of control, let's just create a different type here. So we just make a simple two-way control from here. Control D with this, rotate tool, hold down J, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 90 degrees. Then hold down J here, Control D first of all, and hold down J, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have another simple cool control. So yeah, you could have both. Now I won't use the basic parents to make this a singular object, because right now these are not singular objects. I can actually move them. So to make them controls, I have to make them one object. Okay, so I'm not going to group them, neither am I going to parent them, although I'm going to parent and group them by applying a code. So I'm going to use the shape nodes of the ones that will be children and attach them to that of the parents here. So the way I'm going to do that starting from here is I'll select that this will be the parent, right? Okay, then I take the child node, this one I want to use, and I step down into the shape node. You could see here I've gone to the shape node. Okay, so when I go down in my, you'll go into the attribute editor, the channel box, you'll see I'm just in the shape node of that. So the first thing I want to do, I want to freeze the transformation so that all of them we act as this is the point of origin, and I'll show you the reason why I do that in a minute. So modify, freeze transformations, and it's frozen. Okay, so now I go here, come down, shape node, hold down shift, select this. Now if I come to the outliner, you see what will happen here. Then I come down here and I press parent minus R minus S. So that's parent minus R minus S, and then you hit enter. Now what that does is it creates out of the last circle there, creates a node that is separate, which I can now delete. But that NURB circle 6 now is one object. You see, you can add 2 objects. So this was NURB circle 6. Now this is NURB circle 7. I'm going to do the same for that. So I'm going to go down into the shape node, hold down shift, select the parent. Okay, then come here and I can write parent. Now it doesn't matter whether I leave a space or not. So let me do the first time I left spacing. So I won't leave a space in here. Minus R minus S. It doesn't really matter, but I just like to give spacing so that it looks neater. So now if I hit enter, I have the same results. I have a shape node here which I can now delete. So now this object becomes one object. Okay, the same thing I'll do with this ones. Now if I don't freeze the transformations, let me show you what happens. So let's say right, if you come in channel box, I want to show you that this has some transformations, and I'm not going to change or freeze it, so I'll just show you what happens with this one. So I hold this, go down to the shape node, then I hold down shift, select this, then here, since I already have the code running, I could just press up on my arrow key and hit enter. Now notice what happened. The circle disappeared. Why? Because I didn't freeze transformations, so Maya thinks the circle resides within this 0 point, so it doesn't recognize that movement. So what I did, all the objects need to be in the 0 condition, that needs to be in the point of origin. So that's why we have to freeze the transformations before we do what we're doing. Okay, so I'll just step back. That's like all of this and freeze transformation. Okay, then now I can do that. Select, go down, hold down shift, press parent, come here, go up and press enter, and then you see states. Then I can now delete that shape node. Then I come here, do the same thing, go down, hold down shift, select the parent, come here, go up, press enter, and I can delete the node. Let's do the same thing here, go down, hold down shift, select the parent, come here, go up, press enter, and I'll just do this one as well. Go down, hold down shift, select the parent, come here, go up, press enter, and now I can delete these 2 shape nodes. And now we have just 2 objects. We have NURB circle 1 and NURB circle 6. So that's a very nice way of creating a custom circular array control. Okay, another control we can create doesn't have to be a circle, it could be square. Now if you take this square, then you may need to create the same technique here. So that's holding down all of them, and you know they are already in their frozen position here. So I just select the one I think I want to use as the parent, which would be this one. So I come in here, go down, hold down shift, select this one, come here, go up and press enter, and then it creates a shape node. I do the same thing here, go down, hold down shift, select this one, come here, go up, press enter, then I come here, the same thing, go down, hold down shift, press this one, come here, go up and press enter, and then in my outliner you would see I just have one sphere button let's go here. So the rest are just nodes, so I can remove this from the group and I can delete all this. So now I have just this object here. Okay, so then if I want to create a node from an object, that's like a 3D kind of 3D node from a 3D object, so I could actually come here, take a cube for instance. All right, then I'm not going to use the cube as the control, rather I'm going to use the shape of the cube to create control. So I'll go back to my curves and I'll use my EP curve probably. Let's go into the settings. I would like this to be linear so that I can make straight lines. Okay, then I'm going to turn on snap to point so that it snaps the points of this cube. Okay, then I just come and click. Now it doesn't matter if I have selected a point before. Okay. All right. Then I hit, once I know I've gone around the shape, then we'll hit enter. Okay, you can turn on the snap now. Select the cube itself and delete it. And now we have a 3D control all to ourselves. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a cube. We can use any of these shapes. So let's try a cone. Let's try a cone. Okay, so let's select the cone. The cone is rounded, so I won't want to use so many points. So let's go into the attribute editor and reduce the subdivisions to, let's say, let's do 6. 6 will be fine. Good. So I want to make a custom ray control the shape. Okay, so I go back to my EP curve. It's still in linear, and I turn on snap, and I do the same thing we did with the cube. So let's go ahead. Just make sure that you get every point around this shape. Okay, so let's start from the top. Then we come down, move, go up again, come down, move, go up again, come down, move, go up again. So like I said, it doesn't matter if you click a point twice, come down, then this time we just go around the bottom to make sure we have every single point in the bottom. Once we've done that, hit enter. You can select your pyramid, and now we have the pyramid shape control. So making controls is quite easy when you do all this. So for this ones, snap here. For this ones, we used a 3D object and just traced out the profile. For this one, we used basic curves and shapes, and we froze the transformations, and then we parented their shape nodes to the parent, and that was all what we did to achieve this ones. Okay, there's another way we could create controls. Let's just shift all this way, and that's by using special characters. If you come in here, you come to your text tool, or you write from your poly modeling shelf, or you go to create and use text. Either way, we are going to use the both of them. So when we do that, a text is created. So like I said, you could either do that, or you could just come in here and on the type tool you see it there. So here we want to use a font. We want to use Wingdings or Webdings. So it's all about using symbol fonts. So Wingdings, Webdings, they are the most popular symbol fonts. What is the symbol I'm looking for? And if you are not very aware of how your symbols are, that's not a problem. You could just come to your search bar and type character map, and to bring out a map of all the type in your system. Okay, so we now have Wingdings. So let's just go to Wingdings first. So maybe there's a shape I want. Maybe I want to use an arrow, for instance. So I go down and look for an arrow, maybe something like this. Maybe I want to use this arrow, or I want to use this arrow. Let me look for arrows. This kind of arrow I'm looking for. Here, let's take this one. So I want to make this arrow. So I select it, then I copy it, and I come down here into Maya and I paste it. And so I have that arrow here. So now I want this arrow to become a control. Right now it's looking too big. I could go and remove the extrusion and stuff and do some other tweaking, but the fastest way to get this guy to work is just to go under the type, then under the geometry here I click on create curves from type, and then create a curve. See that? So now I have one arrow and I have another, so I can delete any one of them, or actually I can use both of them. So this now becomes my control for my rig. So probably I want to use it for controlling the off and on of something. And let's say I wanted to use another character, maybe something else. Let's take something else from here. Let's see Wingdings 2. Probably I want to pick a hand, or okay, let's say something like this. Something like this. This control, this looks good. I select that, I delete this one. Yes. Then I copy this, I come in here, paste it. Sorry, and I go to Wingdings 2 here. I forgot to change that. Okay, so then same process, I come here, create curve from, and I have that shape. So I will use this shape for something like maybe my spine or hip joints, to control my hip joints and some other kind of crazy controls. So these are just some ways of creating custom controls for yourself if you don't want to use just a regular circle every time. So we can create these custom controls. Okay. There's a third method of creating controls. There's a third method, yes. I have to come to my curves and surfaces, remember, and I'm going to use NURB sphere, for instance. Okay, but I'm going to go into my hypershade, and I'm going to delete something from here. So go into my hypershade. So what I want to do is map this object here. So with that selected, I just come here to show my input and output connections. So I'm just going to go into the shade group here. Then I'm going to right click here and break the connection, so it's not longer connected to the shading group. Okay, so if I close this now, you see I just have a basic green object. Okay. Now the good thing is it still will not render. It still will not render. So like under the, if I don't like this color, for instance, I can come under the texture map, object display, join overrides, enable overrides, and I could change the color to any color I want. So some kind of color, any color I want. Okay, so like I said, it's not going to render. So even if I come into my settings here, go into Maya software and render this, you'll notice that nothing renders. So that's another way to create a control, and we're going to be using them to control our rig in the preceding videos. So we'll go over this again and try and create as much controls as you can.